The 9th step, direct amends. No phone calls, no letters from me, because you know why? Because I didn't beat you with it back through the mail or over the phone, you know? And whenever I want to write a letter, I can give you any number of reasons. Oh, he moved out of the neighborhood, he lives in Florida, you know, one of those things. The truth is, I'm probably afraid. I'm afraid to face it. And I'd like to share 2 experiences on the 9th step. I'm at a meeting, this is about 17, 18 years ago. It's up in North Philadelphia, 11th and Rockland. This guy walks down the steps. I have not seen this guy since 1977. He is not on my fear list, not for any reason. It's just plain forgotten. Out of sight, out of mind. You know, say more will be revealed. I recognize this guy right away. He didn't recognize me. He walked down the steps, didn't recognize me. But I recognized him. He was a big guy. I used to like fighting big guys. I don't know why I wasn't good at it, but I loved it. People say he has heart. I was stupid. That's why I wasn't. So one day I'm in a bar and we had kind of words and he kind of backed down. So from that point on, whenever I wanted to show anybody how tough or nuts I was, I would pick on this guy. You know, the verbal taunts, you know, the insults. And one day I slapped him, open-handed slap. He didn't do nothing. And then one day I spat upon him. I mean, the utter degradation of spitting on another human being, it doesn't get any lower than that. And he didn't do nothing. So I get introduced to speak. And I looked him dead in the eye. He was sitting in the second row. And I look him dead in the eye and say, my name is Bobby Coyle, I'm an alcoholic. Now I need to take a quick moment here and tell you why I use my full name. I know these traditions are top secret stuff. We're not even going to mention the concepts, God forbid we confuse you. But you know, these traditions are really confusing to some people for some reason, I don't know why, but no more so than this 11 tradition. All of a sudden we get sober, it's like we joined the mafia, you know. Everyone got a nickname. You know, there's John the Brick and Jimmy the Coat and Frank the Fox and Pepsi George and Red Sweater Jack and Upton's Mary. Well, this goes on, right? Everybody in my neighborhood knows I'm a stark, raving, lunatic drunk. There's little telltale signs. They come outside, I'm urinating in their car. My girlfriend throw the clothes out the window. Everyone knows I'm a drunk. God forbid my reputation should be tarnished by going Alcoholics Anonymous. It's just nuts. God forbid, 3 o'clock in the morning, you feel like drinking, you call information. Yeah, like that Frank the Fox's phone number. Yeah. Or you want to go visit one of these beloved old-timers in the hospital. Yeah, I'm here to see John the Brick. Well, Lord, the 11th tradition is real clear. Personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. That means you will never see my face clearly identified, followed by my full name, which is Robert Ignatius Benedict Coyle III, followed by the statement, is a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. You won't see that in the newspaper, you won't see it on television, or you won't hear it on the radio. That would be a violation of the 11th tradition. When a so-called celebrity says that he's in recovery or he is sober, that is not a violation. It is only a violation when he or she clearly states that he is a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. In fact, Dr. Bob, in the Good Old Timers, which is one of my favorite books besides the big book, Dr. Bob said, when one drunk is anonymous from another drunk, that's a violation of the 11th tradition. He went on to say that anonymity is spiritually inspired and secrecy is fear-inspired. This is not a secret society. However, I have no right to break your anonymity. I need to respect that. I was very involved in the area back home. We use our full names. I mean, you're not going to find Bobby C in the phone book. And I dropped Benedict, even though that's back in Lauderdale. But you will find, if you ever want to track me down, I am in the phone book, Robert Ignatius Coyle III. I mean, that's there. 707 Sears Street. So, off that soapbox, back to the meeting, I looked this guy dead in the eye and I said, my name is Bobby Coyle, I'm an alcoholic. Then he nodded, then he recognized me. See, I was told that making amends is much more than saying I'm sorry, because for me, they're 2 words that don't mean squat. I was told making amends is about righting the wrong. Now, financial amends are easy for me. I go in the pocket, I pay you, or if it's a large sum of money, I go in a payment plan. I just don't step to you and say I'm sorry. It's an act of good faith. I got to bring something with me. And then, but the most important thing is you don't exercise that behavior again. But what about the emotional damage or psychological damage? How do I make amends for that? I was told that I sit down and have conversations with people, tell them about my behavior, and again, not exhibit that behavior again. So, I figured if I publicly humiliated this guy, the least I could do is make amends to him publicly. It wasn't a grandstand. But when I said my full name, I'm Bobby Coyle, an alcoholic, then he nodded, then he recognized me. And at the end of my talk, I looked him dead in the eye. I said, Bob, I said, I'm truly sorry. I told the group what I used to do, how I treated this guy. And I said, I'm truly sorry the way I treated you, and as long as I stay sober, I hope I never treat you or any other human being the way I treated you. You know what? He came up and he hugged me. It was an incredible experience. Now at the end of the meeting, we start talking. I said, Bob, I ain't seen you in years. How you doing? He said, Bobby, I'm sober 3 years in Alcoholics Anonymous. I said, get out of here. Now the arrogance creeps in, because everybody in Philadelphia knows me. I'm not saying that they like me, I'm just saying that they know me. I'm involved in the service. People know me, right? Now this meeting, I live in South Philadelphia, right? This meeting is up in North Philly, it's the 11th of Rockland. He's living up in Roxborough, which is considered like Northwest Philly, right? And so this is a meeting that he and I normally would not attend. Philadelphia tends to be very parochial, you know, you stay in your neighborhood. So I said, what brings you here? He said, Bobby, I was flipping through the meeting directory and I just want to go to a different meeting tonight. And when I flipped through the directory, for some reason, this meeting jumped out at me. Now, our meeting directory is 80 pages thick. We have 1,600 meetings a week in the city. And I am a firm believer that God, my God, put that guy in my path that night. I had two options. I did what I did, or I did what I always did. Which? When you have 8 siblings in a 10.5-year span, there is a close resemblance. And people would come up to me and say, hey, oh, you got me confused. You talk about my brother Brian or my brother Sean. I mean, you know. And I had to make amends to my brothers, you know. But that's what I did, you know. I'd like to share another experience on the 9th step. My home group for a while was a Stepping Stones group of Alcoholics Anonymous. I was at a business meeting one Sunday morning. I made a motion. Definitely was for the betterment of AA. It had to be since I made it. I wouldn't do anything else, you know. And so it's an amazing thing. My motion doesn't get seconded. Now every motion gets seconded, even the crazy ones, because you know it ain't going to get passed, but for no other reason you feel sorry for the poor to his eye. You know, that's a stupid motion, but I'm going to second it. Unless the motion goes along the line, like, I think the last meeting of the month we ought to have a quarter barrel in the back of the room. I can see that not getting seconded, but everything else is fair game, right? Not even more of a reason I was shocked, because my boy's in the room, Freddie. I mean, we're making eye contact. I'm looking at him like I'm going into fits, right? Like, he doesn't have my back. Now, which he broke the rule. See, I grew up in a neighborhood. You always had your boy's back, right, wrong, or indifferent. There were certain rules. For instance, you come to things like, you never dated anybody else's ex. You just don't do that. You say, you know what, I think you're cute, but you dated Frankie in the 3rd grade, I can't talk to you. It's a neighborhood thing, you know. You're out with your boy, he starts a fight, you have to get his back, you may get beat up over it, but you and him could discuss that later. But you always got your boy, it's just, you're growing up in a neighborhood, that's what you do. I mean, so I'm looking at this guy, making eye contact with him, he doesn't second my motion. My motion goes down in flames, it doesn't get seconded. I come to the meeting, I never talk to him again. I see 4 or 5 guys in the room, I say hi to 3 or 4 of them, I will completely ignore them. One day I'm at work, my coworker comes up to me, he said, Bobby, Freddie Wheels is outside, want to take care of some sort of business? I peeked out the window, I said, tell him to take his fat ass down to City Hall, he can't do that here. A couple of weeks later, that same coworker called me up, he said, Bobby, he said, Freddie Wheels died last night. And he said, the reason I'm calling you is because he always spoke so highly of you. As God is my judge, I cannot tell you what that motion was about, that's how petty it was. Here he was a guy placed in my path many, many times. He was a friend of mine. It shows you what type of friend that I was. See, when I thought I was going to get off my spiritual high horse, I would make amends when I thought it was right. Put my path many, many times. And the moment that my co-worker said, Bobby, because you always spoke so highly of you, I felt about you big. And I've been praying for Freddie ever since. See, that key word in the 9th step is wherever possible, not whenever, you know? Whenever's time. For me, it's never the right time because I'm too busy, easy doesn't it? Wherever, God will put people in my path. God will do for me what I can't do for myself, but this is a program of action. The 10th step, 4 through 9 on a regular basis. Now, if I want to stand up here and tell you I do a 10th step every day, that's not true, but I'm pretty good. 4, 5, 6 times a week, sometimes 7. Sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, sometimes once a week, you know. You know, it's funny. I can now laugh. I think that's a gift in that. Yeah, I couldn't laugh when I first got sober. But you know what? I used to be one of these guys, if I'm not practicing these principles on a daily basis, no one knows but me. That's not true either.